I guess it's time for a CLIVE doubleheader. I was going through Craigslist, expanded search parameters, and I noticed in the oil patch there was a date just 41, reference number 126300. Now, of course, that is a stainless steel date just 41 with it has a steel smooth bezel, an oyster bracelet, and a gray rhodium dial, dark gray, with still indices. Oh, and by the way, sorry about the fistwatch check. I didn't have a chance to really talk about that during all of Don Haynes's text messages. But today I'm wearing the Omega Seamaster Cosmic. And people in Fist have accused me of having Gerald Genta daddy issues. But, you know, and again, I mean, it's after the Royal Oak and the Nautilus, this is Omega's Me Too watch. And I love this. The dial is the star of the show. It's kind of like a... God, I cannot think of the word offhand. The dial is gray. It matches the bracelet in the case perfectly, almost like a starburst. Well, not a starburst, but it changes color depending on the reflection. And it's, you know, it's actually shown this to the baby DAs over at the misdemeanor docket earlier this morning at my JARB, and one of them said, "Well, it does not look like a vintage watch. It looks modern." And one of the things, the dial, along with the bracelet and the case, it almost looks like one solid piece of metal, and I like that. And if you're going to say that, well, why don't you wear a bracelet, like for proper jewelry? That's occurred to me as well, but no, I'm totally not going to wear a bracelet. Anyway, oh yeah, the date just. But I was looking it over. And, you know, the intellectual, you know, I think watch buying there's a Tao of it, a duality, because I think there has to be logic and rationality and emotion. And I was going through its box and papers and everything. It's less than a year old. $6,000. It basically MSRP is $7,250 or $7,300 plus tax. They're still selling that watch right now, and it was checking a lot of boxes mentally or logically, rationally. It's a good price, I think. It's taken the maximum devaluation. It is a solid piece. It's got a solid bracelet on it, so you don't have to worry. You're not really going to have to worry about stretch or anything like that. The oyster bracelet along with the smooth bezel. You see, I think this is like a one and done watch right here, especially for that price. So it's almost kind of sporty, kind of cash, but I think it can rise to dress watch territory at least. Maybe not tuxedo, but certainly with a suit. And also, kind of like the Omega Seamaster Cosmic, the rhodium does a really good job of matching up with the steel. It almost looks like one piece. Really brings more attention to the white luminescent indices and hands. And as Don Haynes would say, and I almost don't want to say his name for fear he'll start texting again. But, you know, this has got the new movement, which is, as he would put it, well, you know, the boobies. It literally at plus or minus 2 seconds. That's like quartz accuracy. It doesn't need it doesn't need serviced as much or as long as previous movements do. So, you know, something like this is a perfect one and done watch. I think I think gray is a little more, might be a little, leans more out of casual, almost, I mean, out of sporty, more into casual. And, however, I think the blue and the black, the blue actually takes it more sport and makes it not as dressy. But that one actually works. And that, I mean, $6,000, one watch. I think that would check the boxes. I think that would do the trick. You know, maybe get a Casio or something for when you're mowing the yard and swimming, and fisting, or whatever things you don't want to wear a really good watch to. I'm sitting there, check, rationally. But on the other hand, you know, the emotional part of me was looking at it just saying, meh, you know, logical, was that the right brain was going through its little checklist and finding all these great things. Meanwhile, emotionally, I was unmoved about it. And then I finally figured out why. That is a one-and-done watch. And if I was just starting out, I don't think I could do better than that. But I'm not just starting out. So what need do I have for a one-and-done watch? That's a watch that really you should wear every day and wear it proudly. I wouldn't be, so why get it? Not to mention the fact my Milgauss kind of covers a lot of the same bases. Even though it's just the movement's not as good. It's a little bit more funky. So, yeah. Sometimes the emotional attachment, I've learned to trust my gut. And if there's an emotional attachment, I've learned to really trust that. And if there's not one, I've learned to listen to that as well, or be mindful of it. You know, I think there has to be logic. You have to do the homework. You have to make sure you know what you're doing. You have to bone up the watch, the brand, and everything else like that, and the value, and the resale. And the movement, the mechanics, and the bracelet, and also go online and see what other owners have had to say about it. That's actually, and it's a really good price on a really great little watch. But, like I said, emotionally, I think my emotions were trying to tell me something my logical part hadn't got to yet. So you have to have both. You know, if it's all intellect, but there's no passion for it, it's almost like a middle-aged waspy marriage, where it's more of a partnership. You guys sleep in separate bedrooms. On the other hand, if it's all emotion and you haven't really put any thought into it, then it's like dating a stripper and moving her home. You know, you have to ask the tough questions. So you can't discount logic, but by any means. But on the other hand, you can't rely upon it. Period. Eventually, people, feelings can come and go. I'm wondering, has anyone here had a watch that they chose, the Connecticut marriage watch that was chosen solely on intellect, but with no passion? Or has anyone done the opposite and made a purely emotional watch purchase and have that bite them in the ass later on? In this case, the stripper moving her real boyfriend in, or tearing up your house, or finding out she has daddy issues and warrants. All right, well, I've got to get this real quick, so hope everyone here is having a good day, and of course, naturally, the phone rings. Be well, or at least be swell. And if I've missed anything, as usual, let me know. This Clyde.